a safe space for all of us to learn from each other, no matter who we are or what our paths are. We are all coven mates, and I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I bet you're asking yourself right now, how can I support this podcast? How can I support this witch and everything that they're doing? How can I support this person that loves me? How can I support them? See, look, I have a few ways that you can support this podcast. The first way is to share this podcast with people that you think will love this content, and also rating this podcast on Apple Podcasts. For those who listen to me on Apple Podcasts, you can definitely rate the podcast. Give it 5 stars. Help me out. Get me boosted onto that algorithm that I desperately need. Y'all already know. Number 2, you can follow me on all social medias. Follow me on the podcast official Instagram. And then you can also follow me on my Green Witch Instagram as well. TikTok, you can follow me on there. And you can join the Facebook Coven group. We definitely need more members, and we love to see you guys. Number 3, you can check out the website. My website is in the link tree below in the description box with the other links. You can go over there. You can book yourself a reading. You can get you some smoke blends. You can get a bar of soap. You can do so much on the website. Number 4, you can subscribe to the Patreon. The Patreon is filled with so many different delicious goodies. For each Patreon tier, I love to send out a package box for each of my Patreons with different goodies in it every month. And then number 5, last but not least, you can donate to the Cash App. The Cash App is also in the description box. You can donate how much you want to, whenever you want to. It's always open. It's always there if you want to donate. And for all of my people on Spotify, I can now interact with you guys. I can now ask you questions about the podcast, and you can answer the question and leave comments on the podcast. So don't forget to check that out in the description box. I think it's a little tab called Community or something like that, and you can interact with me through Spotify. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me and everything that I've done. Mwah. Welcome back to the Black Queer Witch podcast. A black podcast, a queer podcast, a witch podcast, cast, period. So guys, this episode is actually a fun episode. I'm doing this episode with Jason. I actually plan on making him my co-host for a few months to see how things go, because we have really in-depth, cool conversations about witchcraft, about the occult. He's very knowledgeable as well, so we're gonna do more conversations like this. So hopefully you like this conversation. And guys, you should hop into the Coven, the Facebook Coven group. I do post a lot more stuff in the Facebook Coven group, a lot more than what I talk about on the podcast. I share my experience as a witch. I share some of the things that I'm doing magically, all of that good stuff. You can also follow me on Instagram too, and you guys can connect with me on the Patreon, which I plan on redoing the Patreon and setting it up to be more affordable for people and have a lot more amazing content. I know I had set it up, and a lot of the critiques I have been getting is like, it's a little bit too pricey. So I'm going to change it up. I'm going to make it a little bit more affordable. Not a little bit, but a whole lot more affordable for people, but still give people amazing content. Another update, I plan on doing a YouTube page, so you guys can catch me on YouTube. And catch me on YouTube very soon. So hopefully by the next episode, the YouTube should be up and running, and all that good jazz. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the episode. I'll see you guys at the end. Bye. So, I don't even know where to go back. I'm actually starting this episode like in the middle of a conversation that was previously having. I was like, I feel like people should hear this. So we're gonna continue the conversation. So yeah, I've been thinking about taking my ancestor altar down and taking myself altar down. And honestly, we talked about why I want to take my ancestor altar down, just because I don't feel connected to my ancestors. I don't feel connected to the altar. Is one of my very least active altars that I have on my like my little thing or whatever. So I really want to take that altar down, and I want to turn my ancestor where my ancestor altar used to be into like a season kind of altar, or like an elemental kind of altar for elementals to come, because I do work with a lot of nature spirits now. Like they are very, very drawn to me. So I've been wanting to work with them more. So yeah, I'm gonna free up that altar. But I wanna free up my self altar, because I feel like it no longer serves a purpose. I feel like an actual altar to yourself is an amazing thing, and it's something that I feel like everybody should do. But I feel like I've grown past that type of altar to myself in that regards, because I have a lot of self worth. I have a lot of self esteem, and I feel like a physical altar like that is needed to help people who, I'm not gonna say they who have self esteem issues, but like who want to build their self confidence, etc., etc., etc.
Well, see, I've taken a little bit of a different view on the altar of yourself throughout my journey. You've seen how I've been doing better with the eating better, the working out. I have more energy. I'm more confident now, and I've built my altar to myself within myself. If that makes sense.
Mm,
I say my affirmations. I tell myself that I'm worthy, that I'm proud of it. That I'm proud of myself when I'm doing my workouts. Like, I give offerings to myself and to my deities as I'm working out and using that energy to fuel myself. So, in a lot of ways, I worship at the altar of myself essentially just by worshiping myself without needing the physical altar. And I feel like if people are able to change their minds on things and their
hmm
perspectives, physical altars aren't always needed to build an altar, especially if we're talking about the altar of yourself.
Yeah,
You can worship at the altar of yourself by worshiping yourself and just sitting down and having those conversations with yourself and telling yourself the things that you need to hear,
yeah,
whether you like it or not.
definitely. Like my self altar now is built up on just principles that I find super important. So I just feel like I need to take it down. Like I need to take it down, remove it.
And like when I say worshiping yourself, too, that's not just sitting there being like, "Oh, I'm so great, I'm this, I'm that." Worshiping yourself is honoring yourself. That's setting boundaries, holding yourself accountable when you're wrong. Taking time to be there for yourself, to do things for yourself, not just sitting there and telling yourself, "Oh, I'm worshiping me." It's doing the nitty gritty work of it as well.
Hmm
It is something that you have to fight for, and I think some people it'd be easier to do a physical altar, but for some people it'd be easier to build it within themselves and just know that it's there, and that you yourself are an altar, that you yourself are a temple,
Right.
that our spirits, our Manidug, as we say in Ojibwe, resides within.
hmm
Our spirit, our soul within our
I
body.
say,
Yep. Our body is our temple and altar for that spirit.
right,
And it deserves to be honored, respected, and worshipped.
right, definitely. So yeah, I'm taking it down because of that. Let's swing back to the ancestor altar thing, because I feel like a lot of people, especially a lot of Black people who are like on this magical path now, not even just a lot of Black people. I think I just see a lot of Black people, but I noticed it from other people who've been really wanting to work with their ancestors, et cetera, et cetera. And I just feel like it's time to take it down, y'all. Like I really tried. I really gave it my all. I gave offerings. I gave prayers, and there's no reaction. Like sometimes they'll like I've had probably one or two ancestors who came forward since I started ancestor work. Um, and I just feel like It's just not for me.
Let's talk about it because, bitch, my ancestors have communicated with you more than yours has.
Yeah,
And let's talk about that because the truth is, I'm big on ancestor veneration. You know, I walk a necromantic path. You know, I consider myself a left hand practitioner, a necromancer, and a healer. It's a complicated mix, but it works. But with that being said, man, some ancestors don't deserve to be in your circle and don't necessarily deserve to be praised and worshipped
yeah,
because a lot of them have still carried over that hurt that they caused in this world. You know, when some people pass over, they're not automatically elevated. They're
yeah,
still the same person they were on this world, and if you wouldn't worship them motherfuckers or praise them when they was here, if you wouldn't let a motherfucker like that in your circle or your house when they was alive, why would you do it when they're a spirit?
exactly,
If they're not coming for you and there's not an equal exchange, they're not riding for you when you're giving food, candles, liquor, incense on a daily basis, all they're doing is taking up space for those spirits who do want to work with you.
exactly. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I do agree with that. So I'm gonna take it down, and honestly, I felt bad about it. Like I honestly did feel bad. Like, damn, maybe I should get a more of a chance, and maybe I should keep doing this. But I had to be honest and realistic with myself, and realistic with the people that I know from my actual bloodline. And I had to realize that I have given them so many chances before, and nothing has happened. So why should I keep wasting my time, my money, and my energy with folks who just come to eat and come to drink up the liquor when I pour it out and leave it on the altar. You know, like that's honestly that's the time that I get the most action. Is when I put out food. Like that's when a bunch of people come. Like they come running when there's something they can get from it, and I don't want to keep doing it because that's disrespectful to me.
I'm not going to swim oceans for someone who wouldn't jump a puddle for me, and that includes the spirits.
So I guess we're gonna move forward. And like for other people, because I know there's other people who feel the same way that I feel, and they feel like they need to do ancestor work, especially a lot of Black Americans,
Native
because a lot of
Americans.
us don't have the records to show about these people that lived before us. But don't feel bad. Like, do not feel bad if it's not for you. It's just not for you. If you feel like you get more energy from your deities, more protection, more honor, more blessings from your deities, then you should work more with them. And you should just leave some stuff alone if it don't fit you.
Well, that's the thing. Not, no one's magical path is ever going to be the same. You know, chances are you're not the person who's meant to work with the ancestors. You're not the person, you know, if it's not for you, you're not the person who's meant to take on those generational wounds and heal them, to dig up those traumas. That's probably being passed on to someone else, and you're destined for something different within your magical practice.
Hmm.
You know, and that's just the thing. You know, I'm a firm believer in the fact that there's so many different types of spiritual practitioners, and we're all meant to do something specific, and that's why some things don't fit for us. Some
Right.
people are meant to be healers, some people are meant to do curse work, some people are meant to work specifically with spirits. You know, some people are meant to dig up stuff on the ancestors and, you know, fix the stuff in their bloodlines. All of it's different. We are given different tasks by whoever to do these different things while we're on this earth.
Hmm.
And if ancestor work ain't for you, that's because you're meant for something else.
Yeah, and then also because like I had like I said, like I think a lot of people know. Like I think I talked about it before on the podcast about the dream I had with Yimaya, and she was like, "You need to do some childhood work, inner child healing, and to like kind of connect with your ancestors." And I'm going through that, but there's just so much. I just feel like it's not meant for me because I feel like my inner child, stops me, as in like stopping me not in like not want to do it, but like stopping me and like we don't need to do this again. We don't need to go down this path again. We don't need to be hurt again. We don't need to go through extra trauma to like I don't know, be a part of something that is just not meant for you. Maybe you're meant to be, and like that's one thing I had also had a realization about was that I stopped calling myself a black sheep because that means that I'm just like them. I'm just a little different. I'm a little wonky. I'm a little this. I'm a little that, and I started referring to myself as the chosen one or the golden child. Just even just seeing the golden child, like it brings some type of energy to me. And maybe you're just like, even if you're feeling like me, maybe you're not meant for this bloodline. You're destined, like you said, destined to do other things. And that bloodline probably will hold you back, so that's why you can't connect with it. It's a reason why you can't connect. And like for me, I wanted it so badly that I was willing to try to connect any way that I could possibly could, but it's just not meant for me. It's not meant for me to connect. Um, and I feel like spirit had distanced me from this family a long, long time ago when I was a kid for a reason. And now I see that. Like in the beginning, when you're going through it, you don't see that. You just hurt, you in pain. But now, as I grow and I become the witch that I am, I'm seeing like that shit was for a reason, because this family would have held you back from what I needed you to do and where I needed you to be. Like I was talking to a friend and she was saying like, um would you ever have would you have ever believed that you were where you're at now? I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, honestly, I don't believe it. I said, it's still a little bit of a shock to me. I said, the younger me wanted it with everything in my fiber, everything in my being, but the younger me wouldn't have believed it. The younger me would have thought I would have been still where I was supposed to be, stuck in a poor, impoverished town with people who don't have the same mindset as me, basically stuck around a bunch of fucking mortals. Like, imagine being stuck up around a bunch of mortals all the time, and that's your life.
Well, no, let's talk about that. Let's talk about these toxic family values that you find, especially within BIPOC families, which is the like, it's always family first. You don't turn your back on your family. You don't talk about what happens outside of the house
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, even if they're abusing you, you still got to be there because they're family. You don't let anybody know because people got to keep them secrets. We get conditioned at a young age with a lot of these toxic family values to be stuck in those cycles.
Right.
And those of us who are meant to break those cycles and bring about change are always the ones who get outcasted because people like that don't want to change and they fear those of us who bring it.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. But yeah, so I'm moving forward from this. I'm taking it down today. I'm putting the pictures up. Um, I don't know. I'm just over it. I don't want to try anymore. It's a waste of my time. And I feel better. I feel good talking about it. Like just having a conversation about it. Like it just feels so good.
Well, I remember we had this conversation about a year ago now, like after we had first started talking.
Hmm.
And we were talking about our magical past with each other. And you were telling me about the fact that your ancestors have never really come through for you. And I even told you back then maybe it wasn't meant, to work out, to try something different.
Hmm.
But, sometimes we crave those connections even with those who have hurt us to where we're willing to give it more tries than we should.
Exactly. And also, this also came as a real. Just so much like in the past couple of days, it becoming to me, like, and I'm just so glad I'm not working with these people no more. But working with a set has given me what I had always craved for in like my own mother. Like I was talking about that the other day on my Instagram, um, because I've been thinking about going into priesthood, and I think I found a program for me that I feel like really works for me. And I was planning on starting my priesthood on my birthday month, but I was just talking about my priesthood, and like people ask me why I want to go into priesthood, and I just realized how much I love the set and how much she has given me and how much she has been there for me as the mother that I had always wanted and craved for. Um, I don't see like a set as I don't know how to describe it. Like there's no like English words to describe how I feel for my goddess. Like it's just no English words like can describe that. And like I bet you're like, oh, how does that tie into all of this? And I'm just like, it ties in because, like I said before, I've always had more activity with my deities, and I just feel like that's where I need to be. That's who I need to work with. Those are the ones that want to work with me. You know.
Well, I guess too it comes down to the fact of, we say this especially with like, I guess you could say in the mortal realm, but a lot of times at the end of the day, especially as queer people, as minorities, as spiritual people, a lot of times we end up having to make and choose our own family versus the family we've come from.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be said the same about the spirits.
That's very
Our
true.
bloodline, that's not sometimes, that's not our family. Our
It's
family is
not.
the
It's sometimes
spirits that come to us.
yes. And sometimes it's just like we are descendants from deities. Like we are their children. Like some of us are literally their children, and like we are born into these bloodlines. I don't know, just because I guess it's a vessel. I don't know why.
I I
I think it's complicated.
I fully believe that. I feel like, especially those who studied a long time, like, astral projection. There's CIA documents have been released about other realms being real. Astral
Hmm.
projecting stuff that us witches, shamans, occultists have known for years. There's different realms. Our souls are old and have been around a lot longer than it was realized. I believe we could have been reincarnated in different planes throughout time as well, and that's why our souls know so much and why we are able to experience these things even on this realm, this closeness with spirits and deities versus
Hmm.
even regular people.
Right.
And that is, a very big personal belief of mine and a big motivation behind my personal craft.
Hmm. Hmm. I live for that. But yeah, that's the conversation. I think the conversation. Do you have anything else you want to say or want to talk about?
Um, Not really. The only thing I was gonna add into is like when you were talking about like with Auset, how she showed true motherhood. I never got a chance to experience a lot of that. Like with my birth mother, I come from the
Hmm.
same toxic family background, and even though I don't work with her anymore, my first experience of that was the morgue.
Hmm.
That was the first guide that came to be my first deity, and she's the one who showed me I had power. She's the one who gave me my first lessons, my first loving embrace, and
Hmm.
you know, a lot of times these spirits and these guides honestly save our lives.
That's true. And another thing, like I always say, it takes a village to raise a child, and
Yep.
I feel like you can have more than one motherly figure in your life because Sekhmet is also like a motherly figure to me, and so is Hathor is more like she gives me more auntie energy than like a mother, but a auntie it still can be like your mother. Like my auntie, if it wasn't for one of my aunties, y'all, like life would have been even harder than it was.
Yep.
Like because even though she was my auntie, she still was emotionally available for me when my mother wasn't, and she did so much for me. She taught me things, even though she tried to stay in like an auntie's place. Um, she still was there for me, and I feel like you can just have more than one motherly figure, like
Yep.
you can have more than one fatherly figure. Honestly, in my life so far, I never had that like a fatherly figure, or a man that I looked up to or thought was not saying that he's not a great guy, but like I don't know how to describe it. Someone I appreciated and honored in a fatherly way
Yep.
or unclely way. Um, even though even working with Osiris, like I work with Osiris now, and sometimes that's a little hard because I've never had that type of relationship, and it'd be a little difficult for me sometimes to kind of like work with him or talk to him because I don't know how to approach the relationship because I never had it. Um,
Well, and it's different too, especially when you're used to more feminine energy, and his is very masculine and dominant in a different way from like. Because like when you say dominant, like I think of like Sequence energy, who's probably the most dominating over anyone we call on. But the masculine dominating way his energy is different from that, and it's hard to explain.
yeah,
It's almost intimidating when you're so used to that feminine energy.
I wouldn't say it's intimidating. It's just like because Osiris, to me, Osiris energy is very intoxicating.
Yeah.
Um, but I wouldn't say it's like a scary or like I'm intimidated because of my divine feminine and my connection to my divine feminine. I like his energy. I like being in his presence, but it's just like it's just weird.
Yeah, I
Being
understand.
it's just weird. Like I don't know how to explain it 100%. It's just weird. And working my divine feminine is just I don't know. I don't even know where I was about to go. I don't even know where I was about to go with that. I was about to go into talking about something, but I don't even remember. But yeah, so I said, baby, hold on, where was he at? But anyways, yeah, you can have more than one mother, more than one fatherly figure in your life, and it doesn't have to be blood related or whatever the case may be. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, but then blood ain't shit.
It's not.
That's just on period.
It's not. Child, you don't gotta do that.
Had to hit the dab on it one time.
Yeah, I think it's time to work deeper with some other deities that I've been wanting to work with. Um, I've been getting close to Hecate.
I was gonna say, Dark Mother loves you.
I've been getting really close to her. Um, and I've been wanting to work more with Tefnu, and I've been wanting to work more with Shu. And yes, I know Shu is a god, but um, and for those who don't know, Shu is the Egyptian god for the air, and that includes like dry air. Um, he's like the god of the sky. It all depends on what part of Egyptian history you are in, and that depends on like kind of your description of your deity. But and then Tefnu is the goddess of like rain and like moist air and fog and all that stuff, etc., etc. And I've been wanting to work more with them. And I've worked a little bit with Shu, especially last year during like the summer fall kind of time. Um, I would go on a walk and I would just like literally breathe in like air and I would just say like a prayer and then breathe it out. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And when I work with Tiffany, I dance in the rain, and I do a lot of praying in the rain, and it's such a great feeling to dance in the rain, to dance in the wind. It's just crazy.
So you talking about that actually makes me think of something. Reminds me of like when I brought up earlier about changing our perspectives on things.
Hmm.
Stuff as little as that. Not only could it be counted as offerings, but also as ritual and ceremony, depending on how you look at it.
Hmm.
Dancing in the rain, you're raising energy. Rain cleanses. That's like a cleansing and uplifting ritual. Same with breathing in the air. Doing things like that, those little things and honoring your gods, your spirits, your deities in that way, that is both an offering and a ceremony at the same time.
Hmm.
And once you change your perspective on those things and treat it that way, not only does your witchcraft get that much simpler, but it also gets just that much more powerful.
Right, just simple
Because,
stuff.
yep, it's your day to day life is now being interacted within the spiritual world.
Hmm. I can see that. Okay. But yeah, so I just been want to work more with some more deities. Honestly, I kind of didn't want to work back with Menu.
I remember when
Um,
he first came about with you.
Menu is the god of fertility. I think everybody's seen the Egyptian god of fertility. He always has his like penis in his hand. Um, and he's like the god of agriculture, the god of sex, da 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 da. If you want to check him out, his name is Menu. You spell it Min, but it's pronounced Menu. But anyways, I've been wanting to work with him a little bit more. I don't know if I want to work with the aspect of him and Osiris together because they have an aspect together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would make me more comfortable with working with. Because honestly, when I work with Osiris, I really work with his vegetation
Yep.
part. I don't really work with the underworld dead thing. And not to say that I'm scared to work with that stuff, but it's just like it's not my path.
That's actually one of the things I like about the fact that I've just because of like your altar and stuff you have with him, like that we've both been interacting with him,
Mm,
and we both essentially perceive those two different archetypes of who he is,
right.
which is essentially allowing him to be welcomed into our home as a whole and not just as one of his archetypes that people choose to worship throughout mythology.
Right. It's like even us, we're like totally different. Like you're more like the dark, the moon energy, and I'm more like the sun
Yeah,
and life kind of energy. Like it's like death and life. Like, and I think a lot of our deities are like kind of
representative of that.
represent death and life in two different ways. Like segment represents life and death, health and plague, birth and destruction, and and a set works is the same thing, like
Yeah,
life and death. So it's Hathor, she's seen as life and death and knowing fates and stuff all like that. So I think a lot of our deities, I think that's why they cross paths with us a lot
yeah,
because we represent different aspects of them, and they feel like they should be able to be worshipped by both of us.
yeah.
Like, cause right now you're working with Segment. Like I've been telling you forever to work with her.
I've been enjoying it. Scares me a little bit.
Scares you? Let's talk about it, girl.
Well, because like you forget the fact that like I work with, I guess say like darker, more kind of cool energies,
Mhm.
and then she's literally like the embodiment of the sun.
Mhm.
My favorite offering to give her as a warrior goddess is when I work out because it's like, hey, not only am I building my temple, but I am giving, literally like blood, sweat, tears. I'm getting rid of body fat. Like I'm using my time to better myself and
Mhm.
essentially become stronger. And I can offer that up to her as an offering, almost like a sacrifice, because my sweat's coming off, my fat's leaving my body. Sometimes I bleed. All that, in a way, is like a sacrifice, and that is my favorite offering to give her. And I always feel her accept it when I pray when I'm in the middle of my workout.
Yeah. My favorite offering to her is like telling her my frustrations and telling her my fears.
And letting her take them, burn them
Yeah,
away.
she loves that as my offering. Um, and it's been really great actually. Like even this worry, I'm sacrificing and giving to her to feed on, like because I don't want it. Like what am I gonna do with it? You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
she's known for doing it and taking it and just like purifying it basically.
I will say I don't want to say it was like the best or the strongest because it's just a different type of embrace. But she's had like beginning to work with her and like my first like meditative processes and stuff with her is like while she's can appear so strong and merciless, she has such a soft motherly embrace when she brings you into her arms for the first time too.
Hmm.
She's not just this bloodthirsty warrior like people bring up. She was also a healer and
And the mother.
and a mother and a caring woman. Like she was so much in her mythology.
Hmm.
And when you are her child, God help anyone who goes against you.
No, for real. Like I've called on Hathor a few times. I mean, not Hathor. I've called on Sekhmet a few times to
But no,
hex a bitch. But I can also say that even though like she comes through for us, she still disciplines us when we're in the wrong. Like
yeah,
she does not hold back. Like she will tell you that you were wrong, or like she just won't show up. Like you'll be hexing somebody or be mad as fuck at somebody, and she will not show up.
I could say the same too about my working with Hecate and Lilith too, where it's like you know they'll be there for you, but if you fuck up, they're gonna let you fuck up, and they're gonna let you know you fucked up.
Yeah, like they not gonna do nothing that's injustice,
Yeah,
especially with Sekhmet like being like the protector of justice, like
yeah,
protector of Manat. Like she does not do nothing if she doesn't feel like it's justified. So like if you're doing something petty, do not bring her into it because
you
she
gonna be the one
does.
that gets fucked up.
Yeah, and then she does lose respect for you
Yeah,
because she'll feel like that's a waste of my time. So why would you waste my time with something petty?
yeah.
Like, and she'll just lose respect for you.
But working like with Lilith and Hecate, and then with her, it's just like such a change in dynamic because
Hmm.
they're all such powerful deities, but they present themselves in different ways, and it's
And they all got the same kind of energy, like that crown energy.
in that very powerful mother energy, and it's weird but enticing.
Hmm. And I don't know. When I work with Hakate, I think I feel like a different feeling than you feel. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like a darkness. Like every time like I'm doing magic, she literally's like, "Girl, light my candles. What is you doing? Light them candles, girl." She, don't start nothing until you light them candles. Like I've had her do that to me a couple of times. Like, hold up now, put them candles on.
One what a lot of people don't, I think, realize what Hecate is. They always just hear it's like the Greek goddess of magic. But Hecate is primordial. She's older than the Greek pantheon that we know now.
The
Like,
Olympians.
yeah, she was a titaness. She was worshipped before the Olympians even came about. She's a very old goddess that has been fed for a long time and is now being fed a lot again with how popular she has become amongst the witches.
And I feel like I'm not even gonna say she got popular. She chose her coven. Like
Yeah.
she been waiting for the time where magic came back, and then she like, okay, I want you. I'm gonna go down there and pick a couple of witches that like I see potential in, and I want you, I want you, I want you, because like before I even started working with Hecate, I vowed, I said, girl, I'm not working with no white folks. I refuse to work with any white folks, any white deities, anything. And
Let's point that out though, because in my when I've meditated stuff and I've called to her, she has never presented as a white woman to me. I've always seen her as being olive skinned, closer to my complexion.
that's true. When I see her normally, she's normally just hooded. Like
Yeah.
it's like when she comes to me, it's like, oh girl, we in a coven meeting. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like get your veil ready type shit. But I had vowed to never work with no white deity. And then Hecate just came to me one day, like,
She
um
said, "Bitch, we thought."
she did. She just came to me one day. I don't even remember exactly what she said, but it was very subtle and it was just like out of the blue. And then I kind of like ignored it because I knew I looked over and I was like, this got to be her, but I just ignored it. So then I ended up getting up and going to the craft store, and she was like, "Give me some of them black candles." And then I remember buying the black candles, and then I remember,
The garlic on her feast day.
yeah, I didn't even
You didn't even
realize
know that
it.
was one of her sacred foods or it was her feast day, but she was like, "Hey, put some garlic on my altar." And
Yeah, she wanted some garlic.
you're like, I remember you texted me like, "Yeah, I put some garlic on her altar," and I'm like, it's her feast day and garlic's one of her sacred foods, and you're like,
No,
"No, what the fuck are you talking about?"
like
And
she
then,
just, I wanted garlic,
yeah,
so I gave it to her. I had gave her some wine that day too, cause she wanted wine.
yeah, she loves
But
her wine.
then, yeah, I think it was the next day I had got those candles after her feast day,
Yeah.
or a little later. But either way, I had got some candles and I had burned them. I don't know. I had just sat there at the altar and I was burning the candles because something was just like go to the altar. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get that feeling, you just gotta go.
When you get that feeling, you listen.
So I just went to the altar and I just sat there and she was basically giving me an offer like I want to work with you. I've been watching you for a while now, and it's something about you. And she was like, "You're a peculiar child," which I thought was such an old ass term. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Who the fuck says peculiar?" Who says that? And she's like, "You're a peculiar child." Um, and then I just kind of after she said that, she said what she had to say. I kind of got up and I kind of walked around and I was thinking about it more and more because I was like, "What? Should I do this? Should I do this?" You know. And then I remember lighting the candles when I had first, before she started talking, I had said a little prayer or whatever. And I was asking, like, hey, Hakate, I've been feeling like you want to work with me. Um, and I was like, I want to give something as an offering because I felt compelled to. And I was like, I like this candle as a representation of my past. And I like this candle as a representation of my present. And then I like this candle and representation of our possible future. And like the candle that was in the past burned like more. It burned so fast and so quicker than the other ones. I still don't know why, but
Because they were all the same size candles in the same place. There's no change in
yeah, it
temperature.
was no change in temperature. It wasn't like they were the same fucking candle. I literally bought the same candle. Like I picked them up, anyways, when everything had died down, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna skip to that part yet. I'm gonna go to the part where we were talking. I finished. I got up and I started walking around the house and just kind of thinking. So I was like, you know what? I feel like I should go through with this. Like I feel like this will be the best bet for me. So let's go through with this magic or whatever. So I sat back down at the altar and I remember just closing my eyes and just, seeing what I had to say. Like Hakate, I decided I wanted to take that offer, take that agreement, da 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 da. And I could feel her next to me, like just huge, humongous, like bitch, just tall as a motherfucking tree. And like she
Mm-hmm.
was dressed in black, and like I remember like she had touched like the top of my head, and then like I just had this vision. Everything was like in purple. It was like swirls everywhere, like as if it was like how we see magic in on Disney movies and shit. All those different swirls, and then like I remember I was standing, and then I had looked up, and I seen this woman coming up to me with a lantern, and she was like, "Are you ready to go down this rabbit hole with me?" And then I had kind of like stopped for a little bit, and then I was like, "Yes." And then she ended up behind me, and she was like, "Kneel." So I had kneeled down, and she put this heavy, like I could feel it actually on me, like it was a heavy ass cloak. Like if you was to wear like a real fur jacket, how those be
Yep.
heavy, like it was heavy like that. And then I remember she put the hood over me, and she was like, "Well, let's go then." And then we started walking, and then like the vision stopped. That was crazy. I've never even. I don't think I told you about that, but I haven't said anything else like to nobody about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the most powerful moments I've had with a deity this far in my journey.
I'd say yeah, like thinking of like my three most powerful moments I've had with deities has been my first dream I had with the Morrigan,
Hmm.
um meditation where I met Hecate, and then when I met Sekhmet in a meditation as well.
I had, the other two moments for me is when I was still living in Indianapolis and I called upon all three of my deities, and we all sat at the table together and we were all drinking wine, and I
Mm-hmm.
could feel I could feel a set on my left and segment on my right, and I could feel like on the right side I could feel the heat blazing
Mm-hmm.
off of her, and then Hathor was like I was playing some like fun music, and Hathor was like dancing in front of us like naked, and then we all got up and we kind of danced, not kind of danced, but we actually danced, and then like it kind of went away, like the energy died down. But then my second one would have to be the dream I had, the dreams of Yemaya. I remember the first time I seen her on these guidance cards that I had,
Yeah.
and from that point on, like she would call to me. Like I would have little dreams about fishes. I would have dreams like I was underwater and like mermaids were swimming past me, but I couldn't focus on them. And then you had that one dream about the mermaids,
Oh, yep.
and it had me in it. And then like she came to me, she would come to me like, at night during like walking on a beach, and like she'll be walking ahead of me, and I'll be walking way behind her, and like her footsteps would glow in the sand. She always would wear white. And then that dream I had about her, and we were in that house, and she told me that I need to do some inner child healing.
Was that when she was in like the all white and she had the cards?
Yes,
I remember. I remember.
yes, yes.
I think you still have
Hmm.
that candle I got you for her.
I do. I'm gonna start using it because Yemaya is like a water spirit too. Like
Yep.
Yemaya is not considered a goddess.
She's
In the
a
Yoruba tradition, she's like
the like
a spirit.
Loa essentially isn't it what's called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's like a Haitian. That's like
Oh,
a
the
Haitian
Haitian
voodoo
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
That no, Yemaya is like a Ashe. She's an energy. She's a
Orishas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Orisha, but she's like an energy. They're not considered goddesses and
Yep.
gods. They're just considered energy and actual spirits that have like deity in air quote qualities,
Yep.
and they've been deified. But yeah, very powerful moments. Do you have any other powerful moments that you want to share? I do remember the first time I met Auset in a dream.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll just say my first time when I met Morgan, first starting my path, and I had that dream where I was at my old house, and I was fighting with my family, and I went outside to leave, and there was just this big, brilliant tree in the front yard,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember it had this like luminescent, like blue green moss, and I seen this old like native woman scraping that moss into a bowl, and I went up to help her, and when she turned around, she was just this like young, beautiful woman with just like dark black hair, and she handed me that birch bark basket with the moss, and I remember it like it almost like it felt like it should have burnt me, but it didn't, but it was
Mm-hmm.
hot to the touch, and I was helping her scrape that moss. And there was a point when she looked at me and was like, "Your path is meant to learn your people's medicine, but also witchcraft and to pave a new way."
Mm-hmm.
And that was the moment I started working with the Morgan for the first time. And 6 years later, now that dream still stands out to me as one of the most powerful dreams I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess I can talk about the powerful experience I had today when we went and gave. So like,
I
there's like,
was just thinking about that with the water spirit.
yeah. So it's like this pond by our house, like a couple of blocks up. It's like a natural pond. So I remember we were walking one night and I noticed. I want to call her nymph. She just gives me nymph energy. But anyways, we were walking past the pond and I remember like her calling out to me. And we don't normally go down that street. So that wasn't a, I think that's why I've never realized it before.
We always walk around a different way.
So I remember she was calling out to me in a way. Like she was asleep, like she was sleeping like the fetal position. She had this beautiful long black hair. Her skin was like a bluish gray kind of tone. And she just was so gorgeous. And I remember her just calling out to me. And maybe she did it intentionally or unintentionally. But anyways, I remember that. So fast forward where it's today. And I decided, I said, I'm going to go get some offerings because I was going to wait until spring actually sprung. But I was like, you know what, today just feel right to go get some offerings. So I had some little, a couple of more cutesy oranges, and something was like, grab the honey. So we go down there. It's a little hard because it's a lot of snow. So we got as close as we possibly could get. I, and I gave my offerings and did some tobacco because a lot of the native spirits up here like tobacco as an offering as well. So we did that, and then as we were leaving, um, I could just hear her saying thank you, thank you, thank you, like very grateful, very happy about the offering. And then I remember she took a lot of my energy, like she started absorbing my energy. And like I felt myself getting weaker and weaker. So I ended up holding on to Jason just to like keep balance.
You know
What you
what
about
that
to
just made me think of too is when we first noticed her the other night. And I was like, oh, I was like, well, we could always just give our energy as an offering. And you're like, no, that's not always the best idea because if we give them open access, they'll drain us.
say? Exactly.
And that's what happened
And
today.
she literally drained me, y'all. Like I was literally so freaking tired afterwards. But by draining my energy, she gave me a vision. And the vision was so clear, y'all. Like it was like I was there. Like she gave me a vision of her and like some other water spirits they played in that pond. And I remember one of them saying, "Ooh, I love the summertime." Um, and they were playing in a pond. And then as we were walking away, she showed me what the area looked like before humans,
Pre colonization, essentially.
essentially, before anybody lived there. And she showed me like it was so many different types of nymphs and spirits literally running through the forest. There were wind elementals, air elementals that I saw. There were like tree nymphs, and she was telling me like there were more tree nymphs that lived in the area. but they did not like people. And she just was so. And then like as we were getting back to the house, I could feel her pain. She was so sad, y'all. Like I mean, so sad after showing me that video of that vision because it reminded her of her people and what they had before then, and it was so sad. I could feel it in my chest, like that broken heart feeling. If you ever had your heart broken before, like you know what that feel like. And I remember her, she got so enraged, like I could feel her rage. And she was like, I hate humans so much. I hate humans so much, but there's something about you. And she kept saying it. It was something about you. It was something about you. Like she didn't want me to be feel bad because she hate humans. But she was like, I hate humans so much. She was like, if I had the power, like the Great Spirit has power, I would destroy all of this. And I was just like, damn, baby, don't never upset no water spirit.
The
They
water
would have.
spirits with the shit.
She wanted to. When I tell y'all, she wanted to destroy that shit. She literally showed me how I would look if she had the power to destroy that shit. Y'all, like, y'all don't understand. Like, she was about to. She wanted to call on some real strong ass elementals to wipe to like spread this bitch thin. Like, it was crazy. Like, just looking at it and seeing it so clearly. And then I ended up going back in the house, which I have my wards and stuff. So the vision stopped after we got into the crib because our wards are very strong wards. Even though even though she can come in at this point in time, she has no entry point because I don't have any water on my altar for her to enter in the home.
Yeah.
But
She was told she's allowed to come in and break bread at our table.
yeah, but it just was crazy. That was really fucking powerful ass experience.
Yeah.
For real. But yeah, y'all. I think that's it. I feel like that was a good little conversation. We need to do this more, just having like our conversations on the podcast.
We do. We're talking about some real shit.
Yeah, we be having some really great things to say. And I really want to get past the one-on-one kind of magic that I feel like is so basic and so many people do. I want to talk about doing more advanced magic. And I think that's why you guys should really follow me on Instagram because I show so much of my advanced magic on Instagram and my ritualistic as magic, ceremonial as magic. But yeah, I want to get past those one-on-ones and how to do basic stuff.
Bro,
It's time to move forward.
those self-reflection spells we was just doing.
Oh my god, we showed it. Just did some reflection spells on two people. Um, bitch, that was some
It was
crazy
really
time.
heavy. The servitor we made, like,
Yes, we just made a little servitor. His name is Ralph, and he's a
trickster.
fucking leprechaun, and he's a trickster, and he's so fucking funny. Oh my gosh, I took him to fucking Target with us, and he literally just was like, "Give me this, give me that, give me that." I had seen some gold coins, and like
The
he
golden
literally
Easter
begged.
eggs.
Oh my god, he literally begged me the whole time we were in there to put him in my purse so he can count them, cause like he lives in my wallet. So he was like, "Put him in the bag. I want to count. I want to count him. I want to count him." And like I kept like turning the coins in my hand, like Ralph is hilarious, and I live for him.
And he kept pointing out people's gold jewelry.
Oh my gosh! And then he was. Oh my gosh, we went down the Easter aisle, y'all. Mistake. It was so many golden eggs. He's like, I want this one.
Yeah, he
I
wanted the
want this
fucking
one.
$20 one.
Yeah. I was like, no. I said, you can get this little one. And he was like, okay.
Get us some more money first, Ralph, and maybe we will.
Okay. So, yeah, we made a little servitor. Um, I also made an amplifier for the spirit room, too. That's some advanced as measures. That was some shit that kind of just happened on a whim. I was
Yep.
like, I was at Hobby Lobby and I was like, maybe I should make an amplifier for the room.
My popper I did on myself for psychic advancement.
Oh yeah, that too. What other advanced that shit? I've done like a lot of advanced money magic, a lot more advanced. Oh, the warding when we had to make new wards.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to share that time with y'all at a different time when we're gonna have to come back on here and talk about
Because
wards.
that was a whole ceremony. We called it everyone.
Yeah, and then we can talk about the situation that actually led to us having to do no wards. But yeah, we have to get back on here and talk about
The
warding.
situation that's also led up to the self-reflection though?
Yes.
That the bitch is lucky that we didn't fucking call on Heckman and Hecate and Hex that hoe, or curse her, because she knows damn good and well I'd have fucking dragged her.
Oh my gosh, girl, we got to talk about it in a different
we'll
episode.
Sneak peek for our next conversation, because this bitch nearly got dragged by us.
Oh my gosh, y'all. Yeah, but yeah, it's a different. We got to talk about it differently. But I'm gonna let you guys go. This is actually a very fucking long episode. This is longer than any episode I've ever fucking done. And I like these kind of episodes, so we're gonna have more times. We just have random conversations, and you guys will be a part of that.
Especially because we've been diving deeper in our practices and studying and reading a lot more. It's giving us a lot more to talk about. Servitors, egregores, classes of demons going from the Ducante hierarchy to the Goetia.
That's some shit he know. I don't know shit about that. Here at the Black Queer Witch Shop, my mission is to spread self-love and self-growth through witchcraft and divination. See, my goal are to provide you with the support for you to take care of your body, your mind, and your soul, period. You got to take care of your soul, baby, your mind. See, I want to share my knowledge with you guys. I want to share my knowledge with other witches. I want to share my knowledge with other people who also believe in magic. See, my ultimate goal for the Black Queer Witch Shop is to create a safe space for all those who seek a place